Good morning, everyone, and thanks very much for coming to this panel session. We're looking today at how the digital strategy of FC Barcelona fits into the overall marketing strategy of the business. My name's Duncan Burbage. I'm CEO of Stream AMG. We work with Barcelona on their digital media side. And with me is Roger Gastó, who's head of digital products at FC Barcelona.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting us to this panel, Duncan.
So Barcelona last year generated about 620 million in overall revenue, and that was the first year of a five-year plan, a five-year strategic plan, which aims from 2016 to 2021 to grow the revenue significantly. There's five main strategies to that plan. The first is sporting success on the pitch. The second is the FC Barcelona brand. The third is the maximization of social involvement for the club, which of course at the moment is very important. The fourth is the development of sports infrastructure. And overall, that's within a overarching objective to have the economic part of the plan to be sustainable. So I think we've got time this morning for 4 or 5 questions to Roger. The first one of those I'd like to ask is, how has the digital strategy developed over the last 2 years?
Well, Duncan, I would say maybe the last year, because for digital we are just at the beginning. However, you are right. Everything began 2 years ago when the new board of directors took control following the elections in 2015 and request the executive of the club to write a strategic plan would serve as a roadmap for the following years. So the strategic plan was approved and was presented in November 2015 and defines very clearly the club's mission, which is to be the most admired, loved, and global sporting institution, and also defines the strategic areas or lines, as you said. So the first one is the sports excellence, so which means mainly to win trophies, to win titles, 1 out of 3 main titles for each of our sports, professional sports sections. The second one is the social impact, which means mainly the increasing satisfaction of our members, who in fact are the owners of the club and vote the president every 6 years. The third one is the patrimony, so everything related to the new FC Barça, the new stadium, the new arena. The fourth, the economic sustainability, which in fact is very, very important. And the last one, the fifth, is about the brand and the global positioning. And here in this last latest area, we have defined also very clear strategic targets. So the first one is the achieving 1 billion in revenue, 1 billion euros in revenue for 2021.
Mm-hmm. That's up from 620 million.
Yeah, so more or less 700 right now. The budget for this season is around 900, but something there is not related to the normal business. So the idea is achieving this amount, 1 billion, and diversify the source of revenues and make it more international, not only maybe local, and also increase or consolidate the brand awareness in the key markets. So for doing this and achieving these targets, of course, we need to have the products, the digital products, with a global reach. And the first thing that, because if not, it's going to be not possible to get these 2 targets. So the first thing that we did, and that was in February 2016, was to run an audit of digital to know what were the situation. We worked together with 7 Leagues, which is a sports consulting quite well known, and took 3 months, more than 50 people involved in workshops, and after that we got some important conclusions. Maybe the 2 main ones were that no overall strategy existed in that moment, so we had to prepare one. And also the digital was spread out across the club in several departments, reporting to different bosses. So one of the first things that we did, it was putting everybody working on digital in the same place, in the same office, and reporting to one boss. There were other kind of other conclusions, some kind of lack of product owners, so that was making a little bit the underperformance of our digital products, and also some lack of emotion in the content that we were doing. So that was not the best situation in order to help achieving the objective that were in the strategic plan. So we need a new approach for digital, and we prepared this strategic plan for digital that we also presented. That was last October, with the vision, the mission, the objectives. However, the most important thing was putting everybody together, working together in the same direction and the same goal, because that was one of the main issues that we have in that moment. And the vision was very clear. It was to be number one on digital. We didn't know exactly who was number one on digital, but we were sure that we were not, right. and probably we are not yet. Yeah. But we are going to do, and we are going to be, and we want to be number one, putting the fans first, which means also focusing on the fan experience and make the fans feel or be part of Barcelona. So we also define priorities in this plan, and the mission. The first, it was world-class products. So using the best in technologies, and here that's the reason why we have started with the rebuilding the new web and the new app for Barcelona. And important here is that we are doing both at the same time. Maybe in the past we have been working with the app and the web separately, and the roadmaps were not maybe aligned. And right now we are doing together, and both roadmaps are aligned. So this is important. But having the new app and the new web, maybe it's not enough, because we are going to build. We're going to have a nice container, but this container maybe is empty. Mm-hmm. So we have also to transform the content. This is another important priority, as well as having a new approach to the fan relationship management. So maybe a little bit be more sophisticated and beyond the volume and just only getting volume is just how we approach the fans and the customer or the fan experience around our products. Keep an eye also on the emerging areas like VR or esports, for instance. And the last one, but very important, is also the create this digital culture of excellence across the club. But the first thing, and just to finish maybe this last question that maybe is a little bit long, my answer, sorry, but it's just putting everybody working on digital in the same place, working all together and reporting to one boss. I think is one of the most important steps that we have done until now.
Yeah, makes complete sense. And I think that reflects the increasing value in IP. I think certainly from our perspective, we've seen IP and the amount of money that can be generated via pay-per-view for live events starting to rival broadcast, and in some cases surpassing broadcast. How has that increasing value of digital reflected the way you deal with sponsors at the club?
Well, that's clear. As the value of the digital assets are increasing, so the club has to focus on these assets that, compared to the more traditional offline assets, digital assets has no restrictions or has less restrictions. So in fact we know that the value is increasing because we are measuring. We are measuring this value, and we are showing and sharing the value, the media value with sponsors.
Can you say something about those means of measurement? Metrics used?
There are several ways of measuring this, and in fact there are several sources that we are using, and it's not always as some placements on your app or in your website that maybe a social post. So there are, and in fact it's a mix of different measures that we give to our fans, our sponsors, this value. But on digital we can create new products, and creating these products we can give more value to our sponsors, and they can be more present, and the brand association and the brand. In fact, the brand association, that's what we are selling to our sponsors, is increasing. And the way we are dealing with all these changes on the digital assets is we're dealing differently. So we have to work together with the sponsorship manager.
And the digital products that you create, will you take them separately to the sponsor, or do they tend to get wrapped into an overall sponsorship deal?
I would say that we are working in like an agency. It's an agency approach where we have the partner brand, we have the brand agency, and we have ourselves, and working in collaboration. It's a kind of a triangle, just thinking, creating, developing, executing new ideas, and creating new products. So, and we're doing this maybe in two lines, or maybe in two stages. One is maybe in the pre-sales, where the sponsorship team, together with the digital team, but also with the business intelligence team, all together, we think and we create products that then we offer to the sponsors. But on the other side, the sponsor also approaches us and propose products, and it's the two ways that we are creating these products, these new assets. And in the second stage is more in the asset activation. So here is the digital team who supports the sponsorship key accounts regarding everything digital, everything digital assets. So our digital team is in CC in any communications with our sponsors, and directly manage this digital asset. And even for more pure sponsors, is directly the digital team who is managing. It's a kind of army, a digital army that is helping to, because it's the way we can upsell. So the way we can upsell and to give more value to our sponsors, and in fact, of course, having more revenue is upselling on digital is the way we can achieve this 1 billion. And the digital unit is organized as a business unit, not a cross or a cost unit. Is more a business unit. Here, an example for this kind of things is a very typical digital asset is the maybe a post on social media, and the sponsors want to be there and post commercial post, and even this is a digital asset. There are some restrictions, especially if you are concerned about the fan engagement. So just maybe replacing this commercial post for more integrated post with the brand of the sponsor in organic post that we are doing, maybe is a very good way to increase the brand awareness and the brand association of our sponsor, and also make that the fans keep in mind the brand of our sponsor, which in fact is what we are looking for. And here we can work. In fact, this is branded content. So on branded content, in working on maybe just some regular social media posts that we are doing ourselves, or maybe some new bespoke content that is created by us but agree with the sponsor, or some new bespoke content that is created by our sponsors.
Yeah, makes sense. And you have obviously a very creative digital strategy unit, a digital media unit. Separately, you have the marketing unit. How within Barcelona are those two aligned? What are the sort of formal means of communication between the two? Are there regular weekly meetings? Is there just an informal dialogue that goes on? How do you keep digital together with marketing?
Well, it's what I've told you. Is working in a agency approach. Is that? It's not weekly or formal meetings once a week. It's just dealing directly both together the relationship with the sponsor.
And you sit together and you'll go in to see a sponsor together?
Yeah. That's the idea, and when the sponsor come to see us, we sit all together. So we have a specialist for digital, and we have a specialist for other kind of assets. So this digital army is people that is the best place for doing this job, because they know the state of the art of digital. They know the limitations that sometimes we have for digital, and working together in this agency approach and all together is the way that we're upselling and we're increasing the value to our sponsors.
Understood. And with the speed of publishing and the availability of social media and also the reach of social media, there's obviously an increased risk that your number one area of the strategic plan, the brand value of Barcelona, can get diluted. How do you combat the risk of putting out the wrong video and the wrong message onto social media?
Well, this is probably is not only about social media. It's about the content that we are producing for social media and also for our own properties. And here I think that we haven't reached the level of transformation that we need for really achieving these strategic targets in terms of audiences and in terms of the 1 billion. So we're producing around 300 in-house pieces of content every month, which plus, if you want, the content produced by our TV channel. It's a 24 hours linear TV channel, mainly in Catalan and in Spanish. But probably the content this content is not for the moment, maybe the right to engage the user. So of course, the danger of not doing this on the right way is not achieving the strategic targets. So we are not going to engage the fans, and without the engagement of the fans, we are not going to reach the revenue and the upsell that we are expecting on digital. So that's the reason why we are transforming the content. And it's one of our priorities in the digital strategic plan. And here the idea is moving from more formal news to the entertainment. Right. So there's a sentence that I like a lot to say, that it's a kind of becoming the HBO of the sports. So really producing that content that we can engage the users and the fans and entertain them. So the idea is not maybe just competing with other football clubs in creating content, is just having in mind some entertainment companies, right, like Disney or HBO. So, and doing this, for doing this, probably we have to, that we have to also change the tone of voice of the non-Catalan. So maybe for the Catalan and the Spanish content, we can keep it a little bit more corporate and more official, but for the other languages, we have to be more cooler, more relevant, and really produce and speak to the fans in the way that they are expecting, no? And we have to do that also, keeping our values, because we can retain this humility or the effort or the ambition without being dry or boring. It's a kind of defining, if you want, a digital style of play, a little bit in the same way that the players are doing on the field.
We're getting a little short of time. Are there a couple of examples you want to show which
regarding this last question, I have prepared just a very short example of this content transformation that I think is interesting. It's we are producing some content series of it's 10 minutes each piece. It's a weekly piece that we're preparing for some of our partners in the state. And the idea here is a mix between the recap, highlights, football players, plus live still. and it's a mix, and I would like just 3 minutes of the show. I would like maybe to show the video.
For some fun, welcome to Inside Barça.
Barcelona, you gon' blame me. Hey, Barcelona, that's my legacy. You know where I'm from, my body was a chilling, makes me thought no more dramas. Para shit, preparado para partida mais, meus amigos. Junta para a família, em cadeia, la clique. A jogar como vanilla, tudo stick. Cross my blood, for let's go with
I'm Sarah Canals and this is Inside Barça. Do you want to know everything that's happening at Football Club Barcelona right here from Camp Nou? Well, then you're in the right place. We're back from the international break, so today on the show we're going to talk about Barca's previous games, and a lot of our players qualified for the World Cup with their national teams, so we're going to check how they celebrated it on social media. Also on the show we went to a Patch and Sam & Sense concert. We're going to see how it went, and we're going to talk about Barca's next game. But today we've got some really good news. We'd like to congratulate Leo Messi and Luis Suarez for their nominations for the 2017 Ballon d'Or Awards. Guys, all our support from here. But let's get inside Barça now with a very special visit here at Camp Nou. He's from the States, and I'm sure you all know him.
I had such a good time. I learned so much about not only the city, but the history behind this stadium. And it was a really good time. So I'm super thankful for you guys for helping me out and touring me around.
Khalid visited the Barça Museum today. We've got a little surprise for him. Hi, Khalid.
Thank you.
Hope you like it. It's a Barça t-shirt.
Oh, no way. That's fire.
What's up? So we're right here in Barcelona, Sala Bikini tonight. Woo! Inside Barça, represent for
Barcelona, you gon' blame me. Hey, Barcelona, that's my legacy. Hey, you know where I'm from, my body was a chilling, makes me thought no more dramas. Para shit, preparado para partida mais, meus amigos. Junta para a família, em cadeia, la clique. A jogar como partida, tudo stick. Cross my blood, for let's go with Cross my blood, for let's go with
Poppin', Sam & Sam, BMD, my people.
Barcelona.
Bro, hey, tell us. That's sauce, bro.
Well, that was a party, and Mike, we missed it.
Yeah, I think my invitation got lost in the mail.
Well, we'll definitely go next time, and time to talk about Barca's next game.
Well, this kind of content, maybe it's not new for some of you, but because maybe we can find this content maybe on YouTube, produced by some YouTubers, but maybe here the new is that is official content, and it's produced by us. So this is one of the examples that when we're talking about the content transformation, we are trying to do, and not only for social media, but also for our own properties.
Fantastic. Just time for one last question. Have you seen, what do you see across the football world in terms of interesting things that other clubs are doing in this area?
I would say that maybe Manchester City or maybe PSG, they are doing quite well in terms of content, and also maybe Bayern Munich for product. I think that more regarding football and in Europe, there are some teams that we are also keeping an eye on them.
Lovely. Thanks very much. I'd like to thank you all for coming and to thank Roger for giving us his time.
Okay, thank you very much.